Namaste. I know that you think it must be unfair. I know that you're thinking that the other person that broke up with you has just moved on. They're not calling you, they're not talking to you, they're not texting you, they've completely ghosted you, and you feel like you didn't do anything wrong, and you're wondering how they can move on without giving you an answer. How can they move on when you're hurting this much? Don't they know that you're hurting? Here are some things from patients that I'll tell you really struck a chord with me. It's unfair. The dumper processes while we're still together, and then I get left picking up the mess. Imagine that. This person who's going to break up with you is already seeing somebody in the meantime before they break up with you. Imagine how much that must hurt. And you find out like online, through a friend, family member. I still see him in the building. He gave me no closure. I feel invisible. This is something that really hits hard, because when you think that the other person just doesn't care at all, they don't understand what your self-esteem is like. They don't understand how you must be hurting. When they see you carrying on, hurt, depressed, anxious, nervous, not feeling good, not having proper answers while they're walking around in the same building, that's a lot of pain there. She found someone else in 2 months. We were together for 25 years, and now I'm dead inside and I wanted to commit suicide. These are some things that are so heartbreaking to hear. I swear the hardest part is what you do after it's done. The void is real. That absence, the emptiness, the echoes, the sounds, looking at the videos, looking at the texts, looking at the pictures. If you see a picture with them with somebody else, what are they doing? There's nothing worse than this feeling like they were your home. They were your home. Then what happens is that you don't like yourself. You're not empathetic towards yourself. You don't love yourself. You don't forgive yourself. And then you may choose the path of least resistance. Drinking, eating bad, not working out, not taking care of your finances. And then what happens is that you could end up with a heart attack, a stroke, ICU, kidney disease, death. I've seen this happen, and it could have very well been me. I'm Dhruva, MD, a practicing board-certified family doctor, and I have been single for 7 years, and I recently just got ghosted and broken up without any answers. That's why I'm making these videos right now, is because finally I believe in myself that I can maintain my core values through a breakup, even though I'm hurting, my stomach is hurting, I'm aching, I want answers. What did I do? Why did I mess up? Should I have said something else? Should I have done something else? Because there was nothing that happened. There was no arguments, there was no fights, there was no back and forth. I even had mentioned that, look, I really enjoy understanding myself. I pay coaches, I pay therapists to give me the truth. Can you do that for me? And throughout this time, what I've realized is that I've developed myself enough by being alone. And this is the first time I'm sharing these things as I'm working through this breakup, sticking to my core values. I've lived alone most of my life, and I grew up in a household that was very traumatic. My dad beating me, my dad making me hit my mom, and my mom had schizophrenia. I didn't know her. My brother was gay. He had a tough time accepting that. He died from alcohol and drug use, was found dead for 17 days about 6 years ago. And my mom died 4 years ago. And when we did live together for the last 7 years of her life, I was upstairs, she was downstairs. We never ate together. We never had a meal together, but we did travel a lot. We traveled all over the world. We didn't have a meal together at home, but when we would go out to restaurants and stuff, of course we would eat. But the point being is that I didn't have anybody to work through these things. And I've been single for 10 years. 3 years was not on purpose. 3 years was, I've been embarrassed to talk about this, but I've realized that through this breakup, God has told me that this is your calling. Your calling is to say, look, you being single for 10 years doesn't mean you're stupid. You being single on purpose for 7 years doesn't mean that you are a problem. You taking 5 years to go from self-hate to self-love was to inspire somebody else by being single, by thinking that you're dumb, you're stupid. So much so, I wrote a book called The Dumb Doctor. My patient experience was bad. I almost died of alcohol and drug use. I almost committed suicide. What did I care about? I didn't care. I didn't think anybody wanted to be with me. I thought I was defective. I thought I was stupid. And some of these self-limiting beliefs came from when I was younger. And what I needed to understand was that I just needed to take as much time as I needed to what people will say, heal myself. I just wanted to accept myself and I wanted to love myself. And in order to do that, I just couldn't be online, no online dating, no talking to anybody, no being with anybody. And that's the value I bring to you today. Sure, I have what people would say overcome a lot. I would just say I inspired from my past experiences. People would say, yeah, you went to therapy for so many years. You've been sober for almost 7 years. How did you do it? I'm like, writing. I just wrote. And that's what we'll talk about today, is talking about therapy and the medical evidence behind this concept that I've developed called Mind Hygiene, trying to heal myself, feel good, and believe in myself while I live alone for all of these years. And that too, being sober from alcohol. At least I had alcohol. At least I had a cigarette back then. I would call a cigarette my best friend for several years. Drinking, that was a go-to. When I was addicted to sugar for 3 years, that was a nice go-to. When I would talk bad about people, that was another go-to. When I would try to fix my mind by going on multiple dates. Oh my God, there was one time I went on 5 dates in 1 week. And then there's probably a time that I went on 5 dates in 5 years. When I was single for those 7 years, I will say I probably did go out on a few dates. I had no intention. I directly told them. I'm like, look, we can go hang out. I'm not going to control somebody, make somebody else feel bad, put somebody down, be condescending to them, hate them because I hated myself. And with that said, Mind Hygiene and the writing process, DBT, Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, will help you understand your emotions and stop avoiding what you might be fighting off. Well, let's take this word for word. Dialectical Behavioral Therapy can help you build distress tolerance and stop avoiding hard truths. Dialectical Behavioral Therapy is a book that I've done 1.5 times. I've done a lot of writing on it, a lot of rapping. I've done a lot of work on dialectical behavioral therapy. When it comes to distress tolerance, I don't like this phrase. It means that there's a problem and you just got to deal with it. I don't like that word. I don't want to deal with anything. When you need to tolerate something, compromise. I don't like that word. It bothers me a little bit. Create some sort of resentment. Distress tolerance. No, I don't want to have to tolerate anybody or even myself. But what do you do then? Right? Avoiding hard truths. I don't like that either. I want to be able to accept it. What are you going to write? Is going to be mind hygiene techniques. Instead of viewing dialectical behavioral therapy as building distress tolerance and avoiding hard truths, you can say, I want to create a new reality. I don't want to use hard, difficult, bad, good, positive, negative, weak, strong as self-limiting beliefs. I don't want to say can't, don't, won't, difficult. Those are self-limiting beliefs. In the dialect or dialectical behavioral therapy, well, is it going to be hard to suffer the whole day, or is it going to be hard to write? Use a medical evidence-based process, writing 42% more likely to achieve your goals. There's a study, can't remember if it was somewhere in South America, a study that was done 42% times more likely, 300 times more likely to achieve what you want if you write it down. Shoot, there's stuff that I wrote down like 3 years ago by eating high protein, no sugar. That took me almost 3.5 years to get to, but I just kept on writing it. You just confuse your mind, right? They trick your mind by writing. And instead of trying to tolerate distress, you accept and embrace it and understand it. When you have a breakup, you should not be feeling bad because the spikes in cortisol, the lower serotonin, and the depressive rumination have these hormones that are running so wild, and you're trying to find ways to control them, block them out, fix them, overcome them, deal with them. Instead, what you can do here to try to heal it and try not to have low self-esteem is to aces your life with Mind Hygiene. It will make you feel better, 30% reduction in your anxiety, depression, attention deficit, bipolar symptoms will reduce by at least 30 to 35%. And if you can maintain these writing techniques along with eating healthy, along with exercising a little bit, going out in nature, all of these things will give you a combination of like 60 to 70%. Imagine if you're feeling 70% good instead of 100% bad all day long. Isn't that a great day? Well, let's aces your life with Mind Hygiene. A is accept your awareness. C is communicate your compassion. E is embrace your empathy. And S is soften the process. There will be a link in the description below to a free Mind Hygiene PDF that you can follow along. A is accept your awareness. In a dialect, accept your awareness. Well, I don't want to think about it. Well, is that going to be difficult? Or do you want to just accept that this person hurt you, they ghosted you, they left you, that you don't have any answers? What are you doing there? You're radically accepting it. It's a dialectical behavioral technique. You're radically accepting it by writing it though. But there's nothing to do. There's nothing fancy to do. Let's take this as an example of working out. Accept your awareness. I don't feel like working out. I'd rather watch TV and eat bad. You've just accepted there's nothing to do. But if you want to communicate yourself with compassion, I'm just going to run for 1 second. How about that? I'm going to eat less for 1 second. I'm not going to watch TV and eat mindfully for 1 second. You've accepted your awareness and you're doing it 1 second at a time. That's why I'm telling you, it took me about 5 years to love myself and 2 years to convince myself that I'm okay to be in a relationship and that I love myself. The intensity was fun. Trying to develop this process was great. I can't say I was alone the whole time. I got Ajay here. I got Suwarna, my Havanese Yorkie, my Persian kitty, Ajay, and then I have another cat who's just gone all the time. Maybe he might show up in one of these videos one day. But with that said, EMDR also will help you as well, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy. And that's where the E comes in for the ACEs with Mind Hygiene. E is embrace your empathy. Understand that you may not have inspired from something that happened when you were younger. When my dad would make me hit my mom, I came to a place where when I did eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, incorporated that into Mind Hygiene by writing, I wrote what he was thinking when he did that. He thought that he was protecting me, like honestly though, because my mom, she kind of let me do what I wanted and I would steal. I went to juvenile detention 3 times. She didn't really stop me. We didn't know each other. The dynamics run long and I have so many stories and I've written about them. And there are multiple videos that I've done about the story that I grew up with my mom and my dad, being in that type of a household. In any event, I'm writing from what my dad is thinking. I don't think he wanted to do any of it because his actions did kind of show otherwise, but his words were really bad. With that said, when you soften the process, you know that there's a possibility to do better. You know that there's a possibility that you could be more. And that's where you soften the process instead of saying that it's hard. There are studies that show that dialectical behavioral therapy for patients with drug dependence, borderline personality, bipolar, can improve your emotional well-being, your self-esteem, and reduce an identity problem and rumination, which is very common after heartbreak and can last for days to months to years. Eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy reduces the emotional intensity of traumatic memories and supports long-term emotional resilience. So what I would change this to, or change is a bad word. I'm not giving you advice today. I always tell my patients this, that I am the inspirationalist. I don't give advice. I just inspire from my life stories. And recently I've been talking about being single for 7 years, and this is what it has allowed me to do, is to reprocess every single memory that I've ever had. I went to EMDR a year after I got sober, maybe less than that, and I was going, thank God for my therapist. I was going to her there was a point where I was going 2 to 3 times a week, but then it wound up once a week. She said, you don't have to keep on coming back. But I did the EMDR therapy about an average of 2 to 3 times a month for about 2 to 3 years. But you have to understand here that I reprocessed every memory. But what we have to understand is that me going to therapy, that wasn't the big deal. That wasn't the smoking gun. That wasn't what helped me. It was the writing and the intense application of what I learned that day and the day before, and action steps on what I can do to improve. Meaning I started doing rap songs, I started writing more, I started writing books, and I started trying to understand what it is that I'm actually doing, and I saw so much value in it. When my therapist started crying when my dad tried to make me fail when I was in medical school, she started crying. I was like, well, I thought that was just normally burnt into my memory. But when I was able to reprocess it, I understood that my dad was hurting so much inside. He'd filed for bankruptcy twice. My dad was gay. He didn't understand himself. He was like, this guy could be successful. People actually like him. He could be successful. And that was his way of trying. Now, I'm not saying we're justifying it. We're just empathizing. That doesn't mean we need to go hang out. That doesn't mean I need to go hang out with my dad, okay? But when I'm able to do that, ACE is my life with Mind Hygiene, accept the awareness around it. Inside, he was hurting. Outside, he was hitting because he didn't accept himself. He tried to control his mind. His behavior was mindless, not mindful. His purpose and intention was to control everybody because he couldn't control himself, communicate compassionately. He was still trying to take action embrace empathetically, his dad did that to him, soften the process. Look, is it hard to say he's a bad person, or is it hard to try to reprocess the memory? And that's where Mind Hygiene will come in and help save you by writing and writing and writing. And there's nothing to do with this writing. You don't have to fix anything. You're just trying to feel better right now. And when you do that, you'll be able to empathize with yourself. You'll be able to be more compassionate to yourself. And my suggestion to you is not to talk to anybody. I wouldn't go start talking to your friends and family about what happened during a breakup. Here's something that patients may not want to hear, is that one of the best things that I said, and I've written this in The Dumb Doctor, is that when I said that I hated myself, when I said that I had low self-esteem, when I said that I had low confidence, that was the best thing that could have ever happened, because now I have something to do. I just accepted it. I'm like, look, I have low self-esteem. I depend on others for validation. I depend on other people for me feeling better about myself. I need somebody else. But when I just got rejected so many times, I just developed a rejection toolkit, which at the time was alcohol, drugs, marijuana, cocaine. I did cocaine for 4 months, was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I had a drug-induced manic episode, and that labeled me bipolar. A drug-induced manic episode, which my psychiatrist now says that everybody who does cocaine will have a manic episode if they do too much. Well, because of that, I went to rehab and I got sober. Otherwise, I would have paraded on drinking and people-pleasing people and not understanding what I'm thinking. Because now there's nothing there, right? I don't have a drug. I don't eat bad. I don't eat white bread. I'll eat brown rice. I work out regularly. I take care of myself. I don't have anything else to do but YouTube now. So YouTube is like the next drug. I can inspire somebody. Interestingly, I've been telling patients too, that when you make it a mission to help somebody else along the journey, even if it's one person, it's fine. That's another drug for you. Instead of taking medications that I can give you, which is not bad, but medications have caused me a lot of problems. One of the only things that's really helped me is mindfulness-based cognitive therapy and what I've developed into Mind Hygiene. And what you should do is you should develop your own mind hygiene, your own healing process where you believe in yourself, you feel better. The one thing about it is that it never ends. And when you get to that perfect place, there's a whole nother journey that happens. So now I have another journey. And the only way I think I can really hold myself accountable is by speaking about it, by doing videos about it, and sharing my story with others. And that's what I hope to do. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment, let us know what you're thinking, like the video, and please share it with those that may need to hear this message too. And we'll see you in the next video where I'm gonna explain how to stop obsessing over your ex and show you some medical evidence behind it. Namaste.